All right, good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for coming out. As Amy mentioned, we're here to provide an update on our missing person case out of Parma. The Sheriff's Office first became alerted to the fact that William Mason, a 69-year-old Parma resident, was missing on the 26th of May. What we learned shortly after that was that he actually was last seen on the 25th of May on his property at his home address there in Parma. As you know, we spent several hours, several days, and weeks at that scene there in Parma. We held Mr. Mason's home as evidence in an investigation throughout the several days following us being notified. We conducted many searches of the wooded area along with the support of the Spencerport Fire Department, several adjacent fire departments, the Mississauga Search and Rescue Team, and several other agencies that came to assist us. It also involved several searches of water areas in the back behind Mr. Mason's residence, which includes the quarry. We involved the scuba team, our drone unit, and several other groups as well. So we exhausted a significant resources, effort, and time into searching that area for Mr. Mason. And we quickly learned that this was not a normal missing person case, that there was something quite wrong with this investigation, with the information that we were getting. So we brought in our major crimes unit, we brought in our criminal investigations section, several additional resources. We sought the assistance of the district attorney's office and other agencies, and we turned this investigation over to our major crimes unit. They took the lead, and they then spent several hours and days pouring through tips that came in through our tip line, pouring through surveillance videos, statements from neighbors, information that we received, and evidence from the scene. And I'm going to turn this over now to our Investigator Sergeant David Bolton, who leads our major crimes unit. I'm going to have him provide you with our current update on this investigation.
All right. So based on the investigation up to this point and the exhaustive efforts we took to search that property, we were able to locate a fire pit that's on that property. In the fire pit, we found what we believe to be bones. We sent those bones to the medical examiner. We had a forensic anthropologist look at those bones, and we could say with certainty now that the bones are in fact human bones that we found in that fire pit. At that point, this became a murder investigation, and we followed our leads from there. We've done a number of search warrants. We've recovered a number of video, done interviews. We have 2 people of interest in at this point, and that's pretty much where we're at right now.
We'll take some questions, but you must recognize that this is an ongoing murder investigation, so we will not talk about specific factors of evidence or things like that. We'll talk in general terms and try our best to answer your questions.
I know that you were at his house for a lot of the investigation, but I know that you were also at another house around the corner on a street nearby. Can you comment on whether that's related to one of the suspects? We had heard that it could be a family member or someone you knew.
So that's the location on Trimmer Road, and that is related to evidence that we wanted to gain to further our investigation towards a person of interest, yes.
Can you confirm if that's a person, a family member of his, or a friend, or what relationship it is?
It's a family member.
It is, and that's one of the 2 suspects, or?
Potentially a person of interest.
Being that the bones were found in the fire pit, is it confirmed yet that he was burned to death?
So we're working with the medical examiner's office, and we're working with the Monroe County Crime Lab. We're attempting, we can't identify whose bones they are at this point, but that's who we're working with to try and get to that point, but I can't say one way or another.
You had mentioned at one point throughout the investigation you were getting tips that led you to believe it was different than just a regular missing persons case. Can either of you comment on what types of tips those were, or what led you to believe go in a different direction?
So some of the tips led us to review some video. There was video in the area of not only the victim's home, but of other homes and other areas around the city. So in reviewing those videos, we were kind of drawn to ultimately to that fire pit.
And can you say what was seen in those videos? Was it a family member? Was it Mason himself? What exactly did you?
I can't comment on that.
Okay.
So from here, we'll obviously continue to pursue this with every resource that we have available to us. Clearly this is a significant case for our community, the town of Parma, and all of us. So we're going to devote every resource we have to it. We're going to continue to work with the medical examiner's office, with the crime lab, to first get an identification on those remains. That will lead us in a certain direction, obviously, and then we're going to continue to pursue the investigative leads and those persons of interest. For now, that is all the update we have until at least Monday. We're going to continue to work with the lab and the DA's office and everyone to go further, and we'll be back with more information when we get it.
I have one more if I could. Do you have any idea on motive at all?
We do have some ideas, but nothing that we're ready to release at this time. For the public's welfare, we want to share that this was not, to our belief, this was not a random crime. We believe that Mr. Mason was just the sole target, if in fact those are his remains. So we're going to treat it that way, and we'll be back with more information.
I have a question, if I may. I'm a little bit late, I apologize. But what role did the estate sale play prior to his disappearance?
So the estate sale, as we looked into it, doesn't necessarily play a role in his disappearance, but because of that estate sale, we were able to ascertain a lot of the way the house was prior to our arrival.
Any concern at this time for public safety at all?
No, that's what I was trying to share just a minute ago, is that we do not believe that this is a continuing threat to public safety. If what we're beginning to see plays out as to being factual, then we believe that this was a targeted case.
And you said you had 2 suspects. Are both of those suspects still in the area at this time? Or?
So I didn't say we had suspects. I said we had persons of interest. So I have nothing that would allow me to call them suspect at this point.
Yes.
It's 2 people we're looking into, and currently they are in the area.
And you've spoken to both of them?
They've been spoken to along the way, yes.
Any reason to believe that those persons of interest were present at the estate sale?
The estate sale had nothing to do with this.
Any other questions for now? Okay, Amy?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. I do want to reiterate that this is the last update, so if you have any follow-up questions, please, the chief or the investigator sergeant. There'll be no updates through the weekend unless there is a major development, and if so, we will be contacting you. So thank you again for coming. If you have